Hey guys, I'm here with my friend Elena.
Hey guys.
And today's video is a little bit different. I'm actually going to go over the top questions new Amazon sellers have, and she is actually wanting to start selling Amazon, right?
Yes.
So she came up with a list of questions that she has just from the top of her head with little to no Amazon experience, and I'm sure most of you guys have these questions, same as I did when I first started out. So we're just going to go through a handful of them, and hopefully it will help you guys. So if you want to know that, then keep on watching. Why don't you tell us why you are looking into Amazon and why are you looking to start selling and what brought your interest to this?
So about 2 years ago, I first learned about e-commerce and I watched YouTube videos about this topic, and I always wanted to learn more and take courses and find a product to sell, because it gives you a freedom, gives you an opportunity to travel and work at the same time. That's exactly what you are doing right now, and you have been an inspiration for me for a long time now, and I see how well you do, and your products are on the first page, and I see that you do work hard, but at the same time you have this convenience and opportunity to travel and work from home, and you don't have a boss, so you don't have to ask a permission to go on vacation or to take a day off. And that's one of my goals as well. I am self-employed right now, but at the same time I used to work for the office, and I know it's how it is to go to work every day 8 to 5, and I don't want to do that anymore. And that's why I'd really like to start e-commerce business and find the right product.
Yes, literally, Elena, you can just find one product and it can completely change your life, you know? Obviously, it's not the goal to just have one product, but the first one, it just gives you such a boost. Like, oh, this is going well. But I totally agree with you. That's the reason why I did it too. It's because it gives you so much opportunity. Everything is moving to online and computer, and it's just great to be able to like do things anywhere you want and just not be tied to any location or time. It's really cool. You know, so.
Even from the beach.
Yeah, literally. Okay, let's get into some of the questions that you had. I know you wrote them down and really thought through them, so let's see what they are.
So the first question that I have for you is when you do product research on Buyer Lounge and you look for reviews, what's the best amount of reviews you should look for? Should it be under 150 or should it be over 150? What's the best amount of reviews for product research?
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good question, because a lot of people really wonder about the reviews. Reviews are like the #1 thing on Amazon, and everyone is scared to enter markets that have more than like 70 reviews. But that's so false. Even you said 150 you look for. You think that's a lot, 150?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because when I started out, I thought the same thing. I would see products with even like 90 reviews, and I would say, oh my gosh, it's so competitive. I can't do this. You know, I have to find new products. But actually, when I see products that have 300 reviews, 400 reviews, even 500 reviews, I don't get scared off by it. It's all like when you do research, you're looking for a market. You're not really looking for a few reviews and for them to be under a number, because one seller could be around for a long time and they could have a lot of reviews, but maybe their pictures are really bad, or you know, just their listing is really bad, and you can improve, or you can bundle your product. It's just you look at the market, and if there's, I would say, a few sellers that you see how long they've been selling for, and you see that they have small reviews, then you know you can get in the market, you know. But if there's one person with 700 reviews even, or 1,000 reviews, it's not scary. You can still do better than them. And if even everyone has over 100 reviews, even if everyone has over 200 or 300 reviews, even 400 reviews, but it's a solid market, I would still do it. When I do my product research, I don't even really pay attention to reviews that much. As long as they're like, if they're even in the 400, 500 range, I'm still okay with that.
But you're a long-time seller, but what about first-time sellers? You think for them it's also they can try
Totally. This is for first-time sellers too. My first product that I got into, the top people, they had over 700 reviews, all of them, and they've been all selling for 6 years. So even that didn't stop me, you know, because you just see things in the market and how you can improve, and the reviews aren't as scary as people think it is, because after a certain number, the customers don't really register it unless everyone has like 1,000 and you're the only person with like you know, like let's say 20 or 30, then that's gonna look bad. But if you're in there and there's a few hundreds, then that's totally okay. And I think you should definitely still go for it.
Next question I have is about how many units should I order for the first time?
That's a good one too. How many units? Well, you just have to look at the market. So there's different ways of doing things. A lot of people like to do the giveaway strategy where they just, you know, buy like 700, and you know how to get to the first page is by giving away a bunch of units. But I've actually am launching all my products just using PPC and just making sure my product is really, really good. So I actually think that the best thing to order for the first time, especially if you're a first seller, a lot of people say that you can't do well unless you order a lot of units. But I personally have had many times where I order 150. The lowest I've ever ordered was 100. I don't suggest ever ordering less than 100 because that won't really help you. If you order 150 to 300, I think that's great for a first order. I wouldn't go anywhere over that. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made on my first product, is I ordered 500 units and then I had all this inventory because the product was bad and it was my first experience. But with 300 units, like 150 to 300 is perfect to give it a test run. You can use PPC, you can see what kind of feedback your customers are giving you, where you can improve on next time, and if people are buying it with just PPC. Because if people aren't buying your product, then that tells you it's not a good product, and then you have such a low risk. So I definitely suggest, depending on the market, 150 to 300. And if it's a good market, and you've done all your research and your product is good, you're gonna actually sell out very, very fast in maybe 2 to 3 weeks of those 150 to 300. So that shouldn't be a problem. I honestly, even now, I don't go over 350 when I place first orders.
The next question I have is about the money that you invest in a product. For example, if you invested $1,000 in a product and about $1,000 on the shipping, when should you expect to start making profit? Should it happen in the first month, or usually it takes longer? What's about the profit?
I know profit is like the number one question, and obviously everyone wants to make a profit like ASAP on Amazon, and I totally get it. And the numbers here doesn't really matter, right? Because you can order $500 or $50,000. You just want to see when you'll make a profit as soon as possible. So I would say it differs on how many units you order. So if your product is expensive and with $2,000 you can get 100 units, within that first month you will most likely break even, just because you've only ordered a small amount of units. And it's not because your product is not making money, but it's because you have such little units that you can't even, if you had more, let's say your niche sells 1,000 a month, right? But you don't want to buy 1,000 a month, because you're not ready, you're not sure if it's going to sell well, so you only buy 150. Then say it goes well and you sell all of them in, like all 150 within the first 2 weeks, then you know for sure next time you reorder, if you sold 150, if you order 1,000, then you're going to be profitable, just because you already made your money back, you know. And also why I'm saying it's not so much profitable the first month is because you're trying to get it to page 1 with advertising, for example, with PPC. So that's a little bit expensive, but I'm not saying you can't make a profit. It is very, very possible to make a profit, but especially if it's like a high market and if it's a premium product and it's something you can upmark on the price with a higher profit. If your profit margins are really high, then obviously it's easier because you have more spend on PPC. But if they're a little bit tight, it's harder to make the profit, but you will break even, or you could lose a little bit. But if it's selling, if you sell out, that's already a really, really good sign, because next time what you do is you order more units and you put the price up, because now you're on page 1 or closer to page 1, so more people are buying it. And I would say usually the second order already, a larger order, is going to be profitable. Yeah. Okay,
that makes sense. The next question I have about freight forward. When you place an order with your supplier, who should take care of freight forward? Either it's your supplier or you, because I was searching online and it wasn't clear for me how it works.
I always try to get the best deal on shipping. That's like the one thing I want to do, is to save money on shipping all the time. But honestly, you just have to get different quotes. So it's some factories and suppliers, they try to rip you off a little bit. But if you find a good supplier, they usually don't. So what I like, my favorite shipping method is air DDP, which means it's going on an airplane. It's gonna be there maximum like 2 weeks. So that's it. My best, fastest was like 4 days, which is crazy.
Wow.
But I paid a little bit extra for express, and the item wasn't too heavy, so it wasn't like breaking the bank, you know? But if your item is relatively normal size, then for the first order, like, I always suggest air shipping, just because you're not wasting time. Sea shipping is gonna take at least 40 days. You don't even want it. It's not worth the saving of the money ever. It's just so much work. But as far as freight forwarding and like shipping, what I do is I ask the suppliers what options they have. So I always ask them, give me quotes for air DDP, and DDP means delivery duties paid. So all the like custom fees and everything are already paid. So they have a forwarder that's designated to doing that. So you don't have to worry. And I like that. That's on top of saving time. Saving stress is like both saving time and saving stress. I'm gonna pay extra because I know my product is gonna be at the warehouse as fast as I can, and I know that I don't have to be waiting around for an invoice to pay duties, or, you know, what if it gets lost and I have to contact someone else to find out. It's just one less or extra step that I have to take. So I always ask them for quotes. And if they're reasonable, and if they're still, my profit margin is still good, I'm just gonna use them. And then maybe next time do sea shipping or something if it makes sense, you know? But also if they have bad quotes, and I've had this too, I actually have my own freight forwarder, and then they take it from their warehouse and they do everything else. So I don't have to worry about anything. They actually email the supplier, and then they email me like everything's fine, and then I don't have to deal with it.
Another question I have for you is about the weight of the product. What's the best weight of the product for the first order?
Yeah, so I'm sure you're asking this because you know that heavier products are
More expensive to ship, for sure.
I know, it kind of sucks. But that's also very, very like market based. If you find a killer good market and everyone is scared to go into it because they know how expensive shipping is, but you're like, hey, I'm gonna be the one person that actually pays for shipping and gets a better product out, then you have a huge advantage because everyone else is scared. So if you have a heavier product than everyone else, like, it's a higher barrier of entry. So less people are gonna try to compete with you. And also keep in mind too, if a product is heavy, you can always do sea shipping. I know it's a big headache and there's more steps in it and it takes longer, but maybe after the first order, then everything else, like, your profit margin is gonna completely increase if you do sea shipping after you test out the first order, for example. But I don't, honestly, when I research product, I always try to keep, not always, but I try to keep them under 2 pounds, just because that's just the best shipping rates. After that, it gets expensive and things like that. But if I do find a product that weighs more and that costs more in shipping, I'm not necessarily saying no to it, because I know that people are scared of it and they might not do it. So what I do is I still get quotes, and if this is actually, I still do this, if it's a break-even item with air shipping, but I get sea shipping quotes and I see that sea shipping for larger items is like at least 75% less expensive. It's like crazy difference. It's like more than 50% off the price. And if I see that my profit margins are like crazy good, like for example, say if I do air shipping, my profit margins are low, like $2 or $3, and that's a horrible, right? You don't want a product that only makes you $3 a sale. But say I do sea shipping and then my margins are like $11. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So what I would do actually is I would place a first small test order with air shipping. So I only have $3 to mess around with PPC, and that's kind of break even, right? So I might even lose money if I spend more on PPC. But if I see that that product actually gets to the top naturally with PPC, then I say, okay, well now I can place an order with sea shipping and it's gonna give me all these huge margins. So either way, like,
but at the same time, market might change too.
But that you can say that for every single product, every single time. The market can change in like a snap of a finger. That's why you're always looking for more products, right? But if you are already there and if your product is already selling well, then just continue doing that and jump on that. And as you're waiting for your shipment to come in, or what I would do still, because sea shipping takes like 40 days, I would place another air order for more units if you're running out of stock, and at the same time place a sea shipping order. So by the time, so you're not out of stock for like 40 days, you know, if you're still on the first page.
Also about the first page, that's the goal to get to the first page, right? What are your chances to do a good business if you're like third, fourth page? Are you still good, or it's less small chances to small chances?
Zero chances. Zero chances. Literally zero chances. You might get like a sale every day, one sale, maybe a sale every 2 days. No chance. Yeah, it's just the goal is first page. Even second page is not good, you know. But it also depends on the keyword, like, because some words you might be on the first page for, like less scared, like less, you know, like not the main keyword. Maybe you're on the first page for other keywords, and then what happens is you're on the page for those, and then your main one bumps up slowly. So if your main keyword is really competitive but your other ones are not, so you try to get to the first page on all the smaller keywords, and then that gives you a natural boost for your main one. And if your product is good, you shouldn't have a problem getting on the first page, depending on the market and everything. But that's why you run PPC, because that really helps you. And I 100% guys believe, like, I know I've done this, you can get to the first page just PPC. And this is not for you always have to do your market research and things like that and have a better product. But giveaways, like, I just personally, I know they're super scary. No one wants to give away 500 units, 300 units. I know they work questionably, sometimes they might not. It's an algorithm. You're never 100% sure, but what you do know is that if you run paid ads and if people are actually buying your product and your conversion rates are good, your product is good. When it gets to the first page, it's gonna sell. So, you know, it's slower that way to get it to the first page, but you can still get it to the first page.
How to stay on the first page?
You will. If it's a good product, you're just gonna stay on the first page. That's the problem with giveaways too, is that if you have a bad product and you just give everything away, and you pay a company like $400 to do all these giveaways for you, and then you're on the first page, so you're happy, you're like, I'm gonna be rich, you're dancing, and then the giveaways stop, and guess what? You didn't do your market research, you didn't invest time in like pictures or having a good product or making a bundle or making it better than everyone else. You're gonna end up back on like page number 7 or 12 immediately, because you're not going to get those organic sales. So Amazon's just going to put you back where you came from, you know. But if your product is good and you end up on the first page, then people keep buying your product and you're going to stay there.
Okay, it's good for now. I'm gonna ask more questions next time.
Yeah, guys, I hope that this was super helpful to you guys. And, you know, I just really wanted to see from a perspective from a new time seller, because when I started out, I had just all these crazy questions going around in my head, and now I'm not really sure which ones are the most important. So I wanted to get this beauty on here to see. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos all the time. My Instagram and Facebook group is also linked down below. And yeah, thank you so much, Elena, for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing day. Oh my god. Good thing you can edit these. So Elena, okay, this is awkward. Okay, wait.
This is awkward.
It's okay.
Intro.
It's like a capture intro. Bloopers. I'm gonna put that in, I hope you know.